Welcome to Manhwa Recaps. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. A huge shout out and special thanks to the channel members. The manhwa starts by showing us a lively city at night, with everyone enjoying themselves. As the scene shifts to a restaurant, we see a man stuffing his face with food. Some people nearby are getting visibly grossed out, wondering if they should stop him. They worry that he might die from eating too much and question why he's crying while feasting on such a hearty meal. We then see an absolute unit of a man indulging in a feast, something that looks a lot like what I did during holiday dinner. A man in the crowd remarks that for some people, this might be their first time seeing him, but he's quite famous here in Henan. Another person laughs, assuming it must be because of his appearance. However, the first man warns him not to judge someone based on looks, saying he still has a long way to go. He acknowledges that the other guy isn't from around here but insists that he must have at least heard of him. After all, this man has accomplished an unprecedented feat, unifying every merchant union in all of Henan. The other man is surprised, but the first one continues to lay out the facts. He explains that the man before them is the grand merchant solely responsible for all of this, and his name is Huran, leader of the Sky Ocean Merchant Union. Just then, a woman tells Huran to stop, pointing out that a normal person eats 3 meals a day, yet he alone is consuming 3 days' worth of food in a single sitting. She tries to pull him up from his chair, urging him to stop eating, but moving him is like trying to shift an immovable object. Meanwhile, some people in the crowd continue their discussion, unable to believe that Huran was once considered good-looking in his youth. The woman scolds him again, reminding him that if he keeps eating like this, he will only hurt himself. But Huran responds that if he stops eating, the nightmares will return, he can't get that terrifying day out of his head. She looks hurt by his words but ultimately lets go, asking if he really intends to keep living this way. He continues crying, and we learn that her name is Yona. That night, on the carriage ride home, Huran removes his jewelry, reflecting on how meaningless all of his riches feel now. He admits that he has been using his gluttony and luxury as a way to mask a wound that can't be healed. The pain of losing people can only be healed by people. Yet, even now, he still has nightmares about that fateful day. Yona looks genuinely worried for him. Sighing, Huran notes that even though it has been ages since he made the Sky Ocean Merchant Union his home, Yona still calls him young master instead of head merchant. Her eyes are warm as she replies that no matter how much time passes, he will always be the young master of the Tianhong clan to her. For the first time, Huran notices the wrinkles beginning to form on her face. He recalls how, when he left his clan and married into another family, Yona followed him and continued to serve him. To him, she isn't just a servant, she's family. If it weren't for her, he would have been dead long ago. He touches a scar on his forehead and mutters that everything went wrong on the day the Tianhong clan met its end. As we see a picture of his family, Huran reveals that he once despised them. He hated his father more than anyone in the world. In a flashback, we see that Huran even had a statue of himself made, instructing a young Yona that whenever his father asked for him, she should simply lead him to the statue instead. Huran had completely turned his back on his family. Despite being the eldest son of a once flourishing martial arts clan, he was essentially sold off to the Sky Ocean Merchant Union in an arranged marriage, and he didn't resist. However, a few years later, disaster struck. The Tianhong clan was attacked by the Da sect, and as he watched his clan engulfed in flames, he realized something shocking: for all the hatred he thought he had for his father, he actually loved him dearly. In the end, he was still his father. Overcome with grief, Huran grabs his own statue and begins to headbutt it repeatedly, screaming like a madman. Yona rushes over, begging him to stop before he kills himself, but he doesn't listen. Eventually, he collapses to his knees, as Yona holds and consoles him. That night, they sat together, watching the clan burn to the ground. Suddenly, something approaches the carriage at high speed. Inside, Huran speaks to Yona, telling her that he's going to change. He promises to repair his relationship with his wife and vows to stop his self-destructive habits. He acknowledges that he has had plenty of time to grieve, so from now on, he will focus on cherishing the family he still has. However, he worries about how cold his wife might be toward him. Laughing, he tells Yona that she is like family to him. She smiles and assures him that she will continue to serve him well. Just then, something pierces through the carriage. A man crashes through the side, striking Yona and sending her flying through the air. The same figure then bursts out through the other side of the carriage. Huran is thrown out as well, hitting the ground as the carriage topples over. The old man who was flung through the carriage manages to catch his footing, but the sheer momentum slams him into a nearby tree. He clutches his body, groaning that his organs are in tatters. Blood trickles from his mouth, signaling his grave injuries. A group of masked assassins rushes toward him. The old man barely has time to react before one of them charges in with a sword. Despite his condition, the old man catches the blade with his bare hand, letting it pierce straight through. The assassins mock him, saying that they had warned him, there was no escape. Spitting out even more blood, the old man demands to know how they dare betray him. But the assassins don't waste time, they seize the opportunity to stab him in the stomach. They scoff at his pathetic state, saying they can't believe that this is how the demonic master meets his end. And just like that, we learn who this man is, the demonic master himself. Gritting his teeth, he mutters that everything is because of the damn blood demon castle. If he doesn't take care of these traitors right now, then he wouldn't be worthy of his title. With that, he unleashes a red aura, sending his attackers flying, possibly even vaporizing some of them. Back on the ground, Huran slowly lifts himself up, blood streaming from his forehead. His eyes dart around, searching for Yona. Then he sees her, lying motionless nearby. His heart stops when he notices the blood pooling beneath her. In an instant, he sprints to her side and cradles her in his arms. But it's too late. Her eyes are lifeless, her body limp. A violent rage begins to build inside Huran. He shakes, screaming in agony, cursing his own fate. Why is he always so unlucky in life? Meanwhile, the demonic master staggers forward, leaving behind a blood-soaked battlefield. He drops to his knees, realizing that he must find a new body before his heart stops. He needs to use the spirit possession technique, but his body is failing fast, his blood won't stop pouring from his mouth. As he begins to accept his fate, he suddenly hears Huran calling out to him. Standing before him, Huran is trembling with fury. He yells at the old man, accusing him of dragging his family into this mess. Why did he have to fight here? The old man says nothing. Enraged, Huran grabs him by the collar, demanding that he at least acknowledge the pain he has caused. The old man starts to mumble something, but Huran can't understand him. Huran quickly imbues aura into his fingertips and raises them, striking pressure points on his own body. His entire body goes stiff, and he falls to the ground, completely paralyzed. Confused by the situation, he struggles to move his hand but finds himself unable to. The demonic master, gasping for air, tells Huran that he shouldn't treat an injured old man like this. Huran, realizing the man is a martial artist, admits he lost his temper but still can't believe this is how things are going to end for him. The old man takes a seat beside him, saying that since this is his last time using the spirit possession technique, he had hoped for a young and talented body to prolong his life. However, now that he is at death's door, he has no other choice. He prepares himself, placing his left hand on Huran's stomach, injecting 160 years of his martial essence as true chi, while his right hand is pressed against Huran's forehead, transferring his soul and spirit. He must send them simultaneously to maintain harmony. After a moment, the old man's aura fades away, and his body goes limp. Huran suddenly sits up, pushing the old man off. Looking down at his own hand, he starts closing it and then smirks. The possession has been successful. But almost immediately, his head begins to ache severely. The old man's spirit, now floating behind him, states that Huran should already be suppressed by his true chi and spiritual power. Huran, furious, refuses to die like this, and their spirits collide in a fierce struggle for control. Determined to survive and avenge his clan, Huran resists with all his might. The old man is surprised by his strong will but believes it is futile. He begins absorbing Huran's soul, inhaling his very essence. Huran's consciousness starts fading, his soul deteriorating. Suddenly, an assassin appears behind Huran's body and immediately recognizes that the demonic master has already transferred bodies. He acknowledges that this level of mastery is why so many demonic cultivators in the three demonic heavens revere him. However, his praise ends there, and the assassin lunges with his sword. The old man, realizing this is bad timing, is interrupted before he can complete the possession. The blade pierces directly through Huran's throat, causing him to cough up blood. A red aura flares violently, followed by a sudden explosion. Huran wakes up in a different place, confused. He sits up and looks around, realizing he is inside some sort of apothecary. His throat is dry, so he instinctively grabs the nearby medicine and drinks it, only to immediately gag, declaring that it tastes horrible. As he looks at his hand, he notices how slim it is. Panic sets in, and he drops the plate, which shatters on the ground. He stares at his hands in shock. Why do they look so thin? A young girl rushes in, calling out to him. It's Yona. She asks if he's okay, having heard something break. Huran grabs her, demanding to know why she looks so young. She, confused, asks if he had a nightmare. Huran, desperate to make sense of things, considers that this might be a dream. But then he feels a sharp pain in his foot. He stepped on the broken glass. The pain is too vivid to be a dream. Realizing something, he rushes outside. Yona follows, telling him he shouldn't be moving around with an injured foot. Huran, standing before a familiar statue, is in utter disbelief. This shouldn't be here, it was destroyed years ago. His hands tremble as he reaches out to touch it. Calling Yona over, he asks when this statue was placed. She replies that it was erected just 5 days ago. Huran's breath catches, there's still time. Yona is confused, but before she can say anything else, Huran grips the statue tightly and slams his head into it with full force. The statue cracks and shatters instantly. Yona screams, rushing to him, asking if he's okay. But Huran realizes now, this is no dream. Somehow, he has returned to the past. Looking at the remains of the statue, he understands that he is 3 years before the fall of the Tiansong clan. For him, that is more than enough time. The other spectators in the estate watch in shock. Huran declares to himself that he will protect his people and the Tiansong clan at all costs. We then get some backstory. The Tiansong clan is a martial clan located near the Tiansong mountain in Henan. Long ago, several households named themselves after the mountain, but the Yong clan eventually unified them all. The people of Henan once called them the Tiansong Yong clan, and those who remember that era speak of them with admiration. However, the clan's prestige had declined. No one praised them anymore, they were merely the Tiansong clan. A man sighs, saying it has already been 30 years. Setting down his teacup, he laments that no new expert martial artists have emerged since Elder Yonggong, the supreme dragon of Henan. We are introduced to Huran's father, Byung Yong. Speaking to his wife, he expresses frustration over the clan's decline, saying it is pitiful that they can't even deny it. His wife replies that they can only hope Huran will recover and lead the clan to a better future. Byung sighs, saying that Huran resents him, though he had always acted out of consideration. He regrets remarrying so soon after his first wife's death, believing that Huran never got the time he needed to grieve. His wife reassures him, saying that Huran likely just needs more time. Byung laments that time hasn't healed the distance between them, if anything, it has only widened. 5 days ago, when he visited Huran, his son placed a statue in his garden and told him to speak to it instead. Just then, Yona rushes into the courtyard, screaming for him. Byung, concerned, asks what's wrong. Struggling to speak, Yona bursts into tears, saying that Huran injured himself and is now unconscious. Both Byung and his wife are stunned. Meanwhile, Huran lies in bed, drenched in sweat, seemingly experiencing a nightmare. In his dream, he stands beneath a waterfall, and his mother sits nearby, smiling. She asks if he likes it that much. A young Huran laughs, excitedly pointing at the koi fish in the water. He tells his mother to look, he's caught a huge one. But then he notices something. His mother, who had been sitting up, suddenly collapses onto the rocks. The scene shifts, his mother is bedridden, sick. Young Huran sits at her side, crying. She calls him over, apologizing that she can no longer accompany him to the waterfall. Hugging her tightly, he sobs as she gently consoles him. Suddenly, a terrifying voice booms, telling him to stop crying. The demonic master appears, grabbing him by the head, calling him weak and declaring that he will take his life as a trophy. The scene turns into a nightmare. Huran jolts awake, gasping. Looking around, he realizes that he is in his old room, his childhood room. The familiar yet foreign surroundings confirm it. If he is still here, then this means he has truly returned to the past. Grief washes over him as he reflects on his hatred for his father and how he isolated himself from his family. Everything fell apart when his father was murdered and the clan was destroyed. Perhaps, with his knowledge of the future, he can prevent that tragedy. As he contemplates his path forward, he suddenly feels an unfamiliar energy in his abdomen. What is this? Outside, some servants gossip about him. One woman insists she saw him destroy the statue with his head, but another doubts it, saying he has always been sickly and never learned martial arts. The first woman claims he must be possessed. Just then, Huran slams open the door, startling them. His body trembles. They try to excuse their gossiping, but Huran isn't listening, he's focused on the strange heat building in his lower dantian. Then, realization hits him. He needs a woman. Startled by his own words, he shakes his head. No, that's absurd. But his body feels incredibly hot, this energy is the same as the old man's. If he doesn't find a way to control it, it will consume him. Overwhelmed, he rushes out into the night, ignoring Yona's cries for him to stay inside. Sprinting through the forest, he makes a desperate leap, diving straight into the water.